How to get rid of poison ivy naturally without any harsh chemicals or herbicides. Leaves of 3, let it be. Have you ever heard that saying? We did. We heard it. Now we know. Poison ivy is a nightmare when you use agroforestry. And we're on a mission to get rid of the poison ivy on our property, which isn't an easy task. Poison ivy can cause rashes and hives, even blisters, thanks to the oil in the plant. And in some cases, it can actually make it hard for people to breathe. So you got to be careful. And once you have had one allergic reaction to it, the second time is much worse. In my case, it actually took 3 weeks for the swelling in my face to go down, and I had to wear sunglasses for a while. But we didn't discover the poison ivy until one of the trees fell down in a storm and hubby was cutting it up, so we were moving it, and that's how we realized after the fact, after we got home and started having rashes, that we had touched poison ivy, that green growth on the trees that had fallen were actually poison ivy. So here at our property, poison ivy is growing mostly at the edge of the property. See it right here. But when we look up, what a nightmare. Do you see those vines growing up the trees? See, one of them is kind of loose after a storm. Yep. All that green growth up there, that is poison ivy. Look at all these vines. Thankfully, most of it is at the front of the property and not in the back section of the food forest. But if we don't get it under control, it's only gonna get worse. And now there's actually a bit of an urgency to it because a lot of pine trees fell down during Milton. And while this might look like dead branches, it is in fact poison ivy. And you can see right here there is some leaf coming, and take a look at where this pine tree fell. The pine tree itself is one of the dead ones, so there's not any growth in the top, but it fell right on our native berry patch. We've got lots of native blackberries and elderberries. If I don't get rid of this horrible amount of poison ivy, it is going to take over the blackberry patch. Of course, there are chemicals you can use, strong herbicides, but we grow our foods and plants organically, and we don't use any chemicals here, so we do not want to introduce any poisons into our food forest. So let's talk about what you need if you're going to get rid of poison ivy naturally. Number one, you need patience. Let me tell you, you need patience. But you need to dress in long pants and sleeves, and you need to tuck your pants into your socks, and you need to wear boots. Yep, pants are tucked into my socks, and I'm wearing boots. You need to wear disposable gloves. Believe me, this one. If you don't wear disposable gloves, you will be afraid of touching your regular gloves again. One time I left my gloves outside to let the rain get rid of the poisons, which it doesn't even make any sense, but I did it. And the next time I put on my gloves, they were full of fire ants. And let's see what else you need. You need some sharpened rubbers, long ones, so that you put distance between you and the poison ivy, because they can smack you right in the face. Yep, I've tried it. You should have a small chainsaw on hand if you have these big crazy vines that we have. But if you just have the little stuff, like this little growth right here, you don't need a chainsaw. You need to have plenty of garbage bags, because you are going to want to not touch that poison ivy. We will be using a bunch that we got when we collected leaves from our neighbors. Then you need to have a grabber, Again, you want to put distance between you and the poison ivy. You need to have a shovel for digging up the big roots. And bring rubbing alcohol, just in case you do end up touching poison ivy. And also to disinfect your tools. Then you need a spray bottle mixed with, there are a couple of things. You can either mix it with equal amount of vinegar, dish detergent, and water. That's what we have in this spray bottle. Or you can use 1 cup of salt with a tablespoon of dish soap and a gallon of water. Now the first step is to cut the vines low around the tree. You can see I've done this quite a while ago. Remove as much of the poison ivy without touching it. That's where the lobbers come in. So either with your lobbers or your grabber, put the poison ivy carefully into the bag. As you can see, we have this bag on top of a bucket, which helps with me not having to touch anything. And I have the extra bags just in case. You can also spray directly onto the leaves, onto the stems, and directly to the roots with this detergent vinegar solution. But if you can, try to just get rid of it with the root. That is the best solution. Dig it up, get it out of there, because it will keep resprouting. And even though I have patience, it is tedious. Here's my setup, the little poison ivy workstation. I have an upside down bucket that I made sure is not sitting on top of any poison ivy leaves. And that's where I keep my tools so that they do not touch any poison ivy vines or leaves. And then I have the bucket with the trash bag. Look at this one, I'm trying to dig it up. Look at the roots. These reddish vines on the ground. I gotta get the, look at that, they're just everywhere. I'm trying to, I know this is one of the roots. I'm pulling slowly. That's some of it. But there's more. And there's more, lots more. This is the one where you can see the leaf above ground. Got roots, but there's still more in there. So if you're going to pull this up, I would recommend that you at least double up on your gloves and make sure you have some good quality gloves. Honestly, if you don't get as much of the root system as you can, it's going to go back and go more. Look at this. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. And then they send suckers from all over the vine. Roots underneath the ground. Ridiculous. I'm going to spray some of this vinegar mixture just in case some of these small roots, see these? I'm going to try to get them, but just in case I don't get all of it. At least I got a lot of the root up. Look at that. Whew. So much work. When I'm ready to wrap up a bag, and I suggest you do that not when it's full, but before it's full, just double bag it. So what I'm going to do is I pull up the sides. That's why I have it in buckets. It's just easier to have it the sides don't fall in on me. But now I'm going to put this second bucket. Now I'm going to put this second bag over the top, and then I'm going to tie it on the other side. I recommend that you come back and work on the poison ivy every week until you feel as if you really have it under control, and then you can switch to every month. The aerial rootlets make it possible for the poison ivy vine to grow up a tree even if you do cut off the main roots, the main source of food. Take a look at this, it's horrible. The dangerous oils are present in all parts of the plant, including on dead plants. So handle it with care and bag it up really carefully. Do not burn poison ivy because of the oils. They can become airborne. Do not compost poison ivy. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. Just put it in the trash. I am against disposables, but this is my third set of disposable gloves I'm wearing today. Just put it in the trash. Don't even put it out with your yard waste. Just put it in a trash can so that no one is exposed to the poison ivy. And use a ground cover to choke out poison ivy as much as you can. This is one of the reasons why we have so much sweet potatoes growing everywhere. This tree used to have a lot of poison ivy, but we have been doing everything we just showed you, and then we have the sweet potato vines grow around it and even up it, and so far it's been keeping down the poison ivy. The final step is to disinfect your tools. We have some rubbing alcohol here that usually works. As soon as you go home, wash your clothes separately from all other clothes. Now while we're at it, we might as well just cover what to do if you do touch poison ivy, because it has happened. I have accidentally touched it many times, but what works for me is immediately use the rubbing alcohol to rinse my skin. Then do not itch or it will spread the poisonous oil. Go inside, wash your hands with dish detergent, then take a shower and use soap ASAP. The longer the oil stays in your skin, the worse the reaction will be. If your clothing do touch poison ivy, wash all of your clothes immediately on the hottest setting, then run the washing machine on its cleaning setting or the hottest setting again afterwards, so that you do not transfer this horrible oil onto other clothing. Also consider whether your boots might have touched the poison ivy. You might need to clean them, disinfect them. If you get hit with poison ivy and you get the rash, the only thing we've really found to be working is using calamine lotion every day, and then we use itch lotions such as cortisone creams, but you can't use those for an extended amount of time, so don't use it for any more than a week. You can also take an over-the-counter antihistamine. What works for you might not work for someone else. We found that to be true in our family. And also, this is very important, wash your sheets daily. If you're a gardener or if you go hiking in the woods, you will eventually get exposed to poison ivy, but this is what it looks like. Do not touch it. Remember, leaves of 3, let it be. If you're consistent, it will make a difference, but you have to keep on at it, and eventually the results will be worth it. This is one of the trees that I have been working on since the spring. Started by cutting the vines at the bottom and then just keep on treating it, keep on working at it, and as you can see, there's no vines viable on the tree at the moment, at least. Oh, I hope it stays that way, but I'm going to keep on watching it. I'm going to be vigilant. If you enjoyed this video, well, if you learned something or you found it helpful, because let's face it, it was not an enjoyable experience, at least not for me. But so far, I have not touched any poison ivy today. But please support us. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and you can even click that notification button and you will be notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for watching. Don't forget, leaves of 3, let them be.